We have a new leader right now.
Grand Prix ladies and gentlemen, the Grand Prix of our final day here at Ecuestre, Southern Africa 2026. Opening this Grand Prix is is a lovely Dutch grandson of Magic Around Doctor. It's a Dutch horse, but he is riding for very best of luck to all of our
Very good afternoon then, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final day of action from Monterrey.
So we start at defense number 1, that is the vertical on the IP side of
Arturo Parada Vallejo will kick things off for us in this two-star Grand Prix. This is the feature class of the day here in Monterrey, and this has been quite the week of competition so far. Of course, the two-star competitors all working towards this. So Arturo off and running, heading to fence 4 there, big yellow coloured oxer. There's a few quite tight turns in here. That one, absolutely beautiful fence. The dragons there now to the GNP double. It's a little stuck in there. Loreto is the ride for Arturo. Of course, one of the Mexican heroes for this crowd to cheer on. Makes that right-handed turn. He's expanding the stride, ready for that open water. Gets him a little bit unsettled there, but he manages to get things back together in time for the plank that follows. And through this triple combination. Over the last then. And a fantastic way to kick things off in this afternoon's competition. It's a clear for your first competitor, Arturo Parada Vallejo. Very impressively done. Time allowed is 78 seconds though. In fact, that has been amended. It's 83 seconds, the time allowed. So 83 seconds. So Arturo Parada quite well inside there as we turn to Nicolas Pizarro and Sorrento. Nicolas, of course, another Mexican representative. Really fantastic rider. Ranks 53rd in the Longines World Rankings, and he was second in the two-star Grand Prix with this horse just last week. Nicolas, of course, an Olympian from the London 2012 Olympic Games. He's been here for a couple of weeks, but that great second place last week, especially considering this is a fairly new partnership. Oh, what a pity. Bit deep into the La Silla Oxa. And down it comes. Good opportunity now to really get to grips with the horse, build that partnership, and continue their upward trajectory. Just working on the 4. Rides very strongly through that triple combination. Distances are a little long in there. And very boldly to the last as well. Looked like he picked up the pace with perhaps a fast 4 in mind. So 76.31. He's more than 3 seconds faster than Arturo Parada. He will go second place with the pole down. But a brilliant ride. Of course, as ever, there's the fence that goes. Horse is very naturally quick.
There is a new time announced in the first round of 81 seconds. So the original time round has been reduced to a new time round of 81 seconds.
We welcome then Juan Bautista Piduti Hortas. His ride is Chakwiki PS. This is actually one of the best days we've had here this year for Major League show jumping. The sky much clearer. You can actually see the mountains really quite clearly. And yeah, really lovely conditions. Fairly warm, not too warm, a little bit of a light breeze. So Juan Bautista brings forward this 8-year-old gelding. The most recent show was in Capexpan in March, where they picked up 4 top 10 finishes. Now that is a tricky fence. It's very narrow. Comes up there at fence 3. It's white poles, which will be quite reflective in these quite sunny conditions. But yeah, very narrow. Comes, of course, on the related line. They're just working on the 4 then. This pair have also had good results last summer. The horse was developed in the Netherlands as a young horse and is still just 8 years old. Jumps really well through that triple combination. The horse has certainly got the power. Sadly, the last goes though as well. So the time's good, 76.91. But yes, that third fence dropped for Juan Bautista. And 12 will be the final score. So 1 clear from 3 so far.
Number 4 in the round, number 1 Teresa, Durango PS,
So we welcome Patricio Pascal now, another representative for Mexico. You can see the Archers logo next to his name. Patricio, of course, part of that Archers squad. Strongly over that dragon design fence. Durango PS is Patricio's mount. 9th in the 2-star Grand Prix in Mexico City in April for this combination. Another younger horse, 9 years old, rides strongly at the water. Now has to really get the control back for the plank. He manages that well as well. Had a good third place in Ecuestre in March of this year, and a second in Lerma at the end of last year. Horse was with Emanuele Gaudiano, the Italian rider, as a young horse. Unfortunately, the Liverpool fence the last comes down for Patricio. 8 then will be the final score. He'll slot into third place. 1 clear, 1 on 4, 1 on 8, 1 on 12 so far.
From Durando Pressing to Explosivo SLN choice of Gonzalez Dufran and Mason Holding Grand Prix for the second period with Mexico Gonzalez Dufran para México y Explosivo SLN.
Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne will be your next starter. Explosivo SDN is the mount. We're looking for a second clear here. Course design team led by Gregory Bordeaux. Of course, he was a course designer for the Paris Olympic Games. Oops, real miscommunication, sadly, at the Banorte vertical there. He's done well to get the balance back. But that, of course, quite a hefty fault for this 10-year-old stallion. Just not really keeping the balance or the rhythm, unfortunately. Manuel's had a couple of good results with this horse. 6th in Copa Expan at the 2-star level and 8th in the 2-star Grand Prix there. And this one was developed in Germany. Opens the hands to try to encourage the balance, but unfortunately this is not going their way today. That is a pity. Let's see what he opts to do here, but yeah, just a couple of miscommunications. It is a pity. There it is again. You can just see that balance not quite there. Well, there we go then. Good to see Manuel just jumping another fence there, just to make sure that the final experience is a positive one. So not quite their date, but I'm sure that 10-year-old will be one we'll see again in the future. Well, for Mexico, once again, we now welcome Luis Alejandro Plasencia with Enzo BJX. Just the one clear still. It's Arturo Parada Vallejo. This horse a little bit more established than some of the others. This one is 12 years old. And last week they finished 9th in the 2-star Speed and 14th, just one pole down in the 2-star Grand Prix. This combination of competed together for a little while. They had a good win last year in Zapopan in Mexico. A couple, in fact, 2-star Grand Prix win. Very forward to the open water. Well rewarded for that. And then, yes, gets the control back. Of course, that's the classic question of adaptability, extending the stride for that open water. Wide jump and then getting the control back. Ready for the delicate upright to follow. Something that we see. Oh, what a pity. Oh, you can see how disappointed he is. He did so well all the way around there. But unfortunately, the final fence goes for Luis Alejandro Plasencia. 4 will be the score. What a pity. Real shame. So still just the one clear. That was, of course, Arturo Parada Vallejo, your first competitor into the ring. We'll go onwards to Eduardo Pereira de Menezes. Now, he has had a very good week. He was clear in the 5-star Grand Prix yesterday. Armenteros Z is his ride today. Also part of the Rainmakers squad. Not quite the season that they might have liked. But Eduardo now off and running then. He's 84th on the Longines World Rankings. Won a class in Lexington, the 5-star Speed. Of course, we took Major League show jumping there last week. This one is 9 years old. Had a couple of rounds here last week with Felipe Amaral, the Brazilian rider. But together this pair have posted 3 top 8 finishes. Coming across Ocala and Wellington in Florida. This is a course that really rewards bold riding, and those latter parts are catching out a good few of our competitors. So another 4 there for Eduardo. The fastest time we've had so far, though, 75.34, so he will slot into 2nd place, a little faster than Nicolas Pizarro. Still just the one clear from 7. We welcome in Cassidy Rain then, who represents Canada. Also see that she's part of the Northern Lights squad on Major League show jumping. Her mount, Escorial K. Cassidy's 166th on the under 25 world ranking. She's had a good season in Wellington and a few weeks in Ocala as well with her horses. Been lucky enough to see her in the previous legs of Major League. Oof, sees a long one there. But Escorial absolutely answering the question in the desert in California with Major League show jumping at the 5-star level as well. This mare is 15 years old. She had a great win in an under 25 class at Wellington in February. Oh, what a pity. Good few riders being caught out by that Banorte vertical there. He's taking a circle here, just perhaps to rebalance. Gets through that double really well. There's the slight miscommunication, unfortunately, just not quite aligned. So opts to retire then with Escorial. As I say, talented combination, and I'm sure we will see them in the future. Back over to Mexico now then, and the turn of Carlos Hank Guerrero with H5 Ceylon Island.
This is H5 Ceylon Island, one of the best from the elimination as well. Defending tricolores en el Grand Prix H5 Ceylon Island y representando México, Carlos Guerrero.
Carlos in the world's top 300. Rider who's competed all across the world at the very top level, now bringing on this 9-year-old. Took this horse to Mexico City, the Longines Global Champions Tour event there, and finished 12th in a 2-star speed. This horse was developed by Jean-Luc Mourier, French competitor, to some good podiums in Saint-Tropez, as well as in Gorda Minore, so all across Italy. In fact, horse was very successful in the young horse classes. That was a couple of years ago now, but under the saddle of Carlos, he most certainly, I'm sure, will develop. Sits down and drives for the open water and really uses his body to balance, ready for the plank. Spins round the back towards the triple combination. Big striding horse, finds it a little short in there, and sadly the back rail comes down. But a really beautiful ride, really unfortunate just to have that single pole. I don't know if you can really see this on a screen, but the ring is slightly undulating. There are some slight inclines there, and so sometimes that really does impact the way that the striding comes up. You know, if you're running downhill on this big expansive grass ring, that can have quite an impact. So we turn onwards then to Felipe Amaral. We're still looking for the second clear. Augusto van het Haringvliet Z is the ride. Felipe representing Brazil. Ranks in the world's top 500. 13th, just a single rail in last week's 2-star Grand Prix here. But again, a building partnership, a horse that's really developing more and more. 9-year-old Zangerscheide Gelding had a good 4th at WEF down in Florida. Very bold to the Banorte fence. He obviously knows this horse well and feels he can really run at some of these fences. But a good few have been caught out there. Still clear. This is very forward. I expect this would be a great combination in a jump of... Oh no, what a shame. triple combination. It is technical and it does come late in this competition. So sadly, the final score will be 8 for Felipe Amaral. He's into 6th place with that performance. Real pity. Certainly looked like a talented combination. Just not quite the day again. Ana Sofia Lagareta Hernandez is your next starter with Bonnefoy, Van der Hoff, v Santa Rosa. We are looking for the second clear. Just one rider has managed that so far. And this young lady, oh, what a shame, won't unfortunately be able to join the jump off. So really just stops to balance. Now fence 2 is also one that could catch some of these riders out because it's quite airy there. A little more difficult for the horses to gauge the height. Hasn't caught out too many people yet. Manages the skinny well once she's taken a moment, but the hand goes up. And looks like she might be calling it a day here. There's the fence that goes. So, well, let's turn then our attention to Mexico once again for the turn of Daniel Ati Moscona. Nouvelle d'Or Van der Misthoff is this 13-year-old's name, for pleasure breeding on the dam side. Quite an unusual looking horse with that broad white face. So still looking for the second clear. Ah, what a pity. Skinny fences down. It is eye-catching. It is tricky. Just comes on quite the... it's obviously on the related line, and you can really make a bit of a decision there, but it seemed to go a little deep. A willing horse. Again, good speed and natural pace. Just unfortunate. It was only that third fence, the skinny upright. Some good appreciation from the crowd. There's quite a few people here today. The VIP area is certainly very busy and plenty of spectators on the hill next to the arena as well. Just a single pole. It's a fast time at 75.12, and so Daniel Ati Moscona will go into second place for Mexico. Rodolfo Gomez then now with DMS My Lord Cezanne RA. Let's say another Mexican competitor, and another one with a 9-year-old, this one by My Lord Carthago, as the name might suggest to you. Sadly, fence 4 goes. Now this early line here, 2 to 3 to 4, they're on those related distances. Fence 4, I'm surprised it hasn't fallen more really. Got to make decisions there on their striding. Had a good 3rd place in Lerma at the end of last year, and this year have picked up 5 top 10 placings together, including 2nd in a 2-star Grand Prix in Capexpan. Still working on the 4 as they swing past VIP at the top. Lovely in balance there, lovely and straight through the combination. And clears the last safely as well. Takes a little more time, 80.4, but just a single pole. Has gone, of course, for that combination. Still only 1 clear. Arturo Paradavalleo from 13 now. Very good Mexican representative here in terms of numbers in this 2-star Grand Prix. As we turn once again to Mexico for your next competitor, Manuel Rodriguez Aregui. Chacana LS is, of course, the mount. 9-year-old by Chacon LS. Great shot to that skinny fence, and he's going, rode a little forward away, now holds for the distance to 4. Very well managed. This mare's had wins with Manuel here in Monterrey in the young horse classes a couple of years ago. And is being competed across Mexico. Chacana has a good look at the open water. It's great for the younger horses to have that experience of jumping the open water. Of course, we had that as part of the 5-star Grand Prix last night. Always adds another dimension. Always gives them something else to contend with. Oh no, what a pity. Those distances in the triple, excuse me, are quite long. It's been a beautiful ride up until now, and sadly those 2 going down gives a score of 8 for Manuel Rodriguez Aregui with Chacana LS. Such a pity. Patricio Pascal comes up now with Chacol Vido PS. Oh, what a pity. Second fence, that airy, quite difficult to gauge fence has gone at 2. A win in Kopexpan in May in a speed class for them. Horse was with Denmark's Nikolai Hein-Rus up until November of last year. Well, competed in November by Nikolai, and with Patricio prior to that as well for some time. And again, you can really see these horses having a good look at the open water. And just the last go, and no, that's gone as well. It has caught out a lot of our competitors. 4 is added at the last as well then, so 8 is the final score for Patricio Pascal. Andres Torres Hernandez is up next to the plate with Cornet S Shutterfly PS, a Cornet Obolensky bred 8-year-old stallion. Contagos breeding on the dam side. Boldly through these early fences. This pair had a win in Kopexpan in March. 2 wins, in fact, there. And some young horse wins a few years ago here in Monterrey. Horse has certainly got the scope. Oh, what a pity. Triple combination has been very influential. So 8 the score for Andres Torres Hernandez and Cornet S Shutterfly PS into 8th place. We still just have 1 clear. The clears are not coming thick and fast for sure. We turn to Fernando Parroquin Delfin now with Escudero SDN. So we are after that second elusive clear here. Fernando also competes in eventing. Oh, in the show jumping ring under the mountains of Monterrey. very bold. Once again, 10-year-old horse here. Second in the 2-star Grand Prix in Carpexpan. And won a 2-star speed in Ocala in Florida as well. Had another good win in September in Mexico. This looks good. They've got the record. Little bit of a... Ooh, no, he's managed it. Just a little bit wandering there in between the final two fences, but we finally have our next clear round. So we do indeed have a jump-off now. Arturo Parada Vallejo is joined by Fernando Parroquin Delfin, two Mexican riders going head-to-head at this stage. Great shot there from underneath the GNP fence. Lovely to see. So 2 clears now. And as I say, both for Mexico. Lots of cheers going up from the audience in the VIP tent. As we turn over to Jose Antonio Valata Uribe. Cash Barbotier is the mount. A little steadier. Now picks the pace up. Oh, that was a really unfortunate rub. Very light touch through the double. Very bold indeed. Well, the score then 8 for Jose Antonio Valata Uribe. That goes into 14th place with quite a steady pace. Juan Pablo Chedraui Prom will be up next with Aquarel SUN. 12-year-old horse by Arcadius. So, looking for 3 clears now. This is our 19th competitor, or 20th competitor into the ring. And we still just have 2 clears. Fence 2 has gone once again. It's just quite airy there. Similarly, fence 3 is really. Comes into the double quite forward. continues. Got a good lick, but 8 is the score they're carrying so far. Then will be the score for Juan Pablo Chedraui, and that takes him down into 16th place in our order. Not quite the day for them either. Well, we move onwards to Juan Jose Zenders Salgado with Just Nice Van Het Indiehoff. Really has been a week of very difficult courses. Of course, we would come to expect that from Olympic course designer Gregory Bordeaux, and he's continued to set tough tests for this 2-star as well. This one, a much more established horse, a 17-year-old, Deauville Van TL, and out of a Toulon mare. Still solidly clear at this stage as he comes into this difficult final line. Triple combination is quite something to be tackled. Yeah, and he goes very boldly in, and no, it's really too bold, too flat. 2 poles go. What a shame. Just caught out at the end. So it's to 8 for Juan Jose Zenders Salgado and Just Nice Van Het Indiehoff. Let's move onwards then to Tony Stormans now. Competitor for Germany, competed in his first 5-star Grand Prix in Kentucky. Tested yesterday's 5-star Grand Prix as well. And Tony's ride is RMF Balowinski. This is a super talented rider, been part of the Helios squad this season. Team have been really successful, and you know, their position finishing kind of middle of the pack doesn't really reflect how good some of their results have been. You know, with the winners in Tryon, Tony part of that squad. Gets quite deep into fence 2. Ice on the 8 to those yellow poles. Tony's 43rd on the under 25 world list. Had some good results with this horse at WEF over in Florida. Lovely and balanced. plenty of top tens. Oof, gets quite high over the open water. Boldly through the triple combination. Final fence to go. And Tony Stormans shows us how it's done, but he's picked up a time penalty. Oh no, how unfortunate. He'll be disappointed with that, I'm sure. What a shame. Just the one then for Tony. Keeps him out of the jump off, sadly, but he will go into third place for now. Alberto Schwalm then is your next starter with La Ferrari. Competitor for Chile, of course, Verdi bred, a Dutch horse, 10 years old. Working on the 4 then into La Cia Oxa. Jumped here last week for 2 down in the Grand Prix, 2-star Grand Prix. Working on 8 again. I think that pole has just gone as well. He's just getting quite quick and a little bit flat and strung out, unfortunately, and now he seems to have really lost momentum through the triple, excuse me. Yeah, it just seemed to lose quite a bit of energy, unfortunately, so a good few down there, unfortunately, for Alberto Schwalm and La Ferrari. 16, the total score. Still only 2 clears then, Arturo Parada Vallejo and Fernando Parroquin Delfin. Lareto and Escudero SDN, the 2 horses that will return. From Alberto Schwalm then we go to Carlos Rodolfo Molina Godillo. With Santa Rosa du Lis. We'll clear round 1 of last week's 2-star Grand Prix, and just one down in the jump off to finish 9th. Also jumped a good double clear in the 2-phase in Puebla earlier on this year. And some other solid results in the early part of 2026 in San Miguel de Allende. And here in Monterey at the back end of last year as well. So we are looking for the 3rd clear, and this is quite the talented combination. swings out a little more to set up for the La Silla Oxa. These turns are quite sharp, actually. Good there. Stands off the open water a little, but manages it. Well, we do indeed have the third clear. It's really well done, and I love that smile beaming from ear to ear for Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo, third rider for Mexico that will return. It is quite the achievement, considering we have only 3 clears from 25 riders. Miguel Angel Torres Hernandez is up next with Jacendra. Again, fairly forward. Lands and turns quickly just to make sure he's not wasting any time. 17-year-old mare is quite experienced. She's actually jumped up to the meter 60 level. But no, she does not fancy the look of the open water, sadly. We're going to reapproach. We'll just see what Miguel decides to do. Nope, the hand has gone up. All right. So that symbolizes, of course, that Miguel has opted to retire. Still the 3 clears. 3 for Mexico: Arturo Parada-Vallejo, Fernando Paraquin Delfin, and Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo. We turn to Ireland now for your next competitor, Jordan Coyle and King Canaan GP. They went to Mexico City and finished 3rd in the 5-star 2 phase there. Also been solid at WEF this season, 4th in a 4-star speed. And had a 5-star speed class win as well. Also jumped as part of the Major League Team Series in Toronto. Jordan, a very fast rider and very competitive, allows the horse to get the height there. Nice and balanced there. He's of course working on the 4, sadly though. Jordan's been a part of Major League show jumping for a good few years. just lost his rein a little there, and so he has to work a bit harder to get the balance back. And no, the plank will come down for them. So with a couple of fences down, looks like Jordan Coyle is going to call it a day. Looks a little disappointed. So yep, opts to retire. He's a two-time Major League Grand Prix winner. Not his day today. Eduardo Pereira de Menezes comes forward once again then here with H5 Agando Butterfly Z. Ten-year-old stallion here. Quite bold. And then into the front rail there. Needs to spin round. Well, the 2 poles for Eduardo Pereira de Menezes puts him in 13th place. But now we welcome David Garcia de la Garza with Anastasia LS. Another competitor for Mexico. 3 Mexican competitors through to the jump off so far. This one a 14-year-old by Caruso Lacia. Goes fairly boldly, looked a little flat towards the Bonotto upright, but he gets away with it. Had a couple down in last week's 2-star Grand Prix. That was clear in the speed in 3rd. Had a real rattle there coming into the water, but to get away with it, no, and much too quick then into the plank, much too speedy. And sadly it's down. Solid there. And good to the last as well, but one pole is going to put David Garcia de la Garza on a score of 4 and into 10th place. Your fastest 4-faulter is still Daniel Atimoscona, who sits in 5th. Tony Stormans is 4th with the single time penalty. Well, let's go onwards then to Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne with Delicias SDN. '11-year-old Oldenburg mare in Mexico City at the 2-star level. This pair were 3rd in a speed and 4th in a 2-face. Also had good results in San Miguel de Allende. But no, fence 2 once again. It is a little trickier to gauge, being quite airy and open, particularly at the bottom of the fence. It has caught out a few now. Just took a moment to steady there before another quite airy looking fence with the dragons. Quite going his way here, unfortunately. Time still ticking. So Manuel is going to re-approach. Yeah, and now over the open water. And again, you know, he had to really ride hard for that water, but had the effect on the plank, of course, following. But I think at this point he'll be glad to get round and through the finishing timers successfully. Takes a last as well, sadly. So it's 16 jumping and quite a bit for time. 23 in fact for time, so 39 is the total score for Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne. And he is unfortunately some way down our order with that in mind. It was the dramatic moment. Ignacio Barrero is your next starter for Ecuador with Almiro Z. Competes quite extensively at the 2-star level. He's had a good few weeks of showing here in Monterrey. This one a little newer to him. Had a 5th here last week and a 30th in the Grand Prix, just a couple down. Former rider Rodrigo Lambre, and developed in Belgium in this horse's young horse career. A rattle there, but it's still in the cups. Coming then through the triple combination. It's caught a good few people out, but not Ignacio. Coming down to the last then to give us another clear. Yes, he has. Some good cheers going up from the crowd. They are very appreciative of these good rounds. And now we have a fourth clear. Great to see. Really impressive ride. So now 4 will come back. And 3 Mexican representatives have Ignacio Barrero to contend with in the jump off. Patricio Pascal is interviewed then with Kamikaze. Well, Patricio, sadly not off to the best of starts. 2 fences from 3 down. And the 4th goes as well. That is a pity. Kamikaze is 9 years old. This horse is Swedish bred by a stallion called Kanatol. They're now working on that 16 score. Shame they were 4th in Mexico City in a 2-star 2 phase, but this is not their day, and Patricio realizes that and pops the hand up, who opts to retire. Manuel Senderos Fernandez then is your next rider into the ring. Cannabis R is the mount, a 17-year-old, more established horse here by Carlasco Z out of a contender mare. Yeah, really stretched out there over the Banorte upright, and sadly that's not the approach needed there. You need the height rather than that flatness. Just seems a little unsettled in parts. So Manuel does well, I think, to finish on the 4. A couple of tricky moments there, but gets home safely with Cannabis R. Just the 1 pole down. He's outside the top 15. But home and dry. Well, the next horse into the ring is Champion de Beau Z and the rider Juan Bautista Piduti Hortas. Once again, 9-year-old again here, 9-year-old horse, Sangerscheide by Comme Il Faut. Oh, what a shame. That tricky second fence is rearing its head more and more. And Juan Bautista falls foul of it this time. And again, he's just a little bit long there, a little bit far away from the fence. So the final element of that related line has gone. On the 8 then. And the double as well, unfortunately, just lost the straightness a bit there too. And he just settles a little more. It just seems to be, they have the potential certainly, but he's gone very wide here. Taking time, looked like he was taking time to settle, but I think possibly he might be calling it a day. He's really studied the pace here. Let's see. Yeah, Juan Bautista Piduti Hortas then opts to retire. We'll turn over to Mexico once again now then for the turn of Citlali Elena Martinez Cortez. What a pity then. The first has gone for Citlali and the second. What a pity. That's 4 down now. The 13-year-old horse. Had a second place in Copexpan earlier this year with a double clear. Also competed at WEC in Ocala for a couple of good results. Tricky day today though. .23 then will be the total score for Citlali Elena Martinez Cortez and Don Quixote 23.
Balance is on the 4-0 scores. Now the Grand Prix in the final moments of this 2026 edition of as we know, the SOU vaccin is led by the way Wilhelmina of the Reven out of Blue. SOU the Sieg in Felipe Amaral for Brazil.
So at this stage, with 11 more to go, we just have 4 clears. Another tough track from Gregory Bordeaux. Felipe Amaral now off and running with Sonil Vante Zip. Eight-year-old here, this horse. Certainly on the younger side. This one by Minuteman out of a Plot Blue mare. Very, very lucky. Really lost their line there, though. Felipe gives us then the 5th clear. So now 3 for Mexico, 1 for Ecuador and 1 for Brazil coming back for our jump off. 5 in total.
Almost lost Señorita Rodriguez there, but she seems to be alright. I think she still is. Now we continue with our next combination. There is a combination with Patricio Pascal is joining us for next one. If you go.
Patricio Pascal is back with Caba Blue this time. Patricio looking to become the 4th Mexican rider through to the jump off. This one's certainly a solid horse. 13-year-old gelding by Cabachon out of a mare by Chaco Blue. Quite speedy here, would be a good jump-off contender if they can get there, but no, the La Cia Oxa did look like they'd lost a little bit of balance. And that's what I was saying earlier, you know, this ring does undulate. And that really can have quite an impact in unbalancing some of these horses, especially those that are a little less experienced. That's not necessarily the case for this pair, but can really have that effect. Did have a good result in Mexico City, a 3rd in a 2-star speed. Some top 10s in Zapopan and Copexpan, but 12 is the score today in total for Patricio Pascal and Caba Blue. We'll welcome Andres Azcárraga next. Draco SDN is Andres' mount. Eleven-year-old horse here by Balubé de Rouet. Toulon breeding on the other side. A fairly new or not so experienced partnership. They went to Mexico City and jumped double clear in the two-star two-phase. Horse bred in Germany. And yeah, still looking for that fifth clear round. Of course, this very arena has been the stage for Major League Show Jumping's final this week. And if you were lucky enough to join us here in person, I'm sure you would agree it was a fantastic weekend. But if you haven't seen the action yet, don't forget that you can, of course, watch that back on Clip My Horse on demand at your leisure. I won't give away the results just in case you do go back to watch, but I really would recommend it. Some fantastic competitions, and the season was decided. It went right down to the wire, but the final results, of course, determined here in Mexico. What a pity. This triple combination has been so tricky. Very technical end of the course. And it catches out Andres Azcárraga. And so sadly, well, in fact, our score says 4. And so into 15th place for that latest competitor. All right then, over to Spain now for your next competitor. I apologise in advance for my pronunciation of this name. Ainhoa Manero Benavente with Gisidora. 12-year-old horse, Dutch bred. We are looking for the 6th clear. Been a tough track here today. And what a shame. That related line early on has really caught out a lot of our competitors. Last week, this pair also competed at the 2-star level. Had some success in Carpexpan earlier on in the year. 2 double clears for a 3rd and a 10th. But looks like Ainhoa is going to perhaps call it a day here today. All right then, well, let's take another look at the lie of the land. We just have 7 competitors remaining in this 2-star Grand Prix. We have 5 clears so far, 3 for Mexico. Arturo Parada Vallejo with Loreto, Fernando Parroquin Delfin and Escudero SDN, and Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo. And we also have for Ecuador, Ignacio Barrero and Almiro Zed. And for Brazil, Felipe Amaral with S. O'Neill Vantazip. Connor Swale is up to the plate now then with Theo 160 for Ireland. This has been a really consistent horse for Connor. Of course, he's been one of the most consistent riders in Major League's history. Theo is 14 years old now. And they were second in one of the two-star classes here last week. They've had wins, though, at the top of the sports. He's been a great speed horse. Connor's had a good few speed wins this year with Theo. He is particularly good at the 150, 155, 145 level. 61% clear rate at 1 meter 50. Oof. A little bit of a long one there, but Connor's so experienced, he wouldn't let that faze him. And happily over to the plank as well. Very nice and balanced there. You can really see the experience and the partnership they have. He's just squeaks inside the time there as well. So Connor Swale for Ireland gets the clear. He is your 6th clear, 6th combination that will return. Cassidy Rain takes up the mantle next for Canada. With a really solid ride for her Jack. Well, this pair most recently competed in Wellington in terms of their two-star career. She's just struggling to get him going forward there. I don't know if he's having a look at the in-gate perhaps. But she does really well to get things back together. I hope that hasn't wasted too much time for her. Also jumped some solid rounds in thermal, a double clear in the two-face for 10th. I think the Banorte has just gone there. It's a light touch. Yeah, the top rail is down. And unfortunately there, she just seemed to lose a little bit of momentum on the turn. She's not making that mistake again. She's continuing on. Right forward there to the plank, so unfortunately the distance didn't really come up how she would have liked. Again, just takes a minute here. With a couple of fences down, she's wise to just take a moment. We'll just see what she decides to do here. She's having a bit of a tricky day. Sadly, with the circles, that is going to incur elimination, which is a pity. Some nice moments, but just a little unsettled, and in particular coming past the in-gate there. All right, let's welcome Rodolfo Gomez now with Mentor. He's primarily competed this horse to the 140 level. Of course, two-star Grand Prix is 1.45 meters in terms of the fence height, but obviously the Grand Prix much more technical as well. Had a few down in the two-star Grand Prix in Ecuestre in March. Had a good 7th there in a speed class and a 5th in San Miguel de Allende the early part of this year. Good over the water. This is looking pretty solid here. Has he got away with that? I think he may have done, you know. Solid through the triple combination. Got to be careful of the time here. But I think he's just made it. Yes, he has. So a 7th clear. This time it's Rodolfo Gomez, and he's your 4th Mexican rider to go through to the jump off.
What about Overland Zetman? Overland Zetman is undersecond granted honor of looking forward to Antonio.
Well, those are your jump-off qualifiers as it stands. 4 for Mexico, 1 for Ecuador, 1 for Brazil, 1 for Ireland. 7 returning with 4 more to go in the first round. Antonio Morer is your next starter with Overland Z. Another rider for Mexico. 3 for Mexico and 1 for the Netherlands to come. Really solid through that double. Belgian-bred 11-year-old horse here. Oh, what a pity. The La Cia Oxa. Lots of different places they are getting caught out here today. Not necessarily the most experienced of combinations. And in fact, just last week, 4th in the two-star classic here. Working on the 8. Looks like Antonio may be looking to call it a day. Yep, the hand goes up and he's opting to retire. No jump off for this pair. We'll turn back to Daniel Ati-Moscona now. He is your fastest four-faulter, so he sits in 9th place with his earlier ride. And he brings forward now Candy Duforieux Z. Top 500 rider. Jumped the two-star Grand Prix in Ecuestre in March for 6th. quite a lot of encouragement from the crowd here, as we are unfortunately on the 4. Very bold there. Working on the 8 with this 11-year-old mare. And that will be the final score into 19th place then. So Daniel remains in 9th with his earlier ride, Nouvelle d'Or van de Misthoff, and with Candy du Fourier couple down. Final rider to go then will be Charlotte van Bremen. With Lexus van der Broekant. Charlotte, a competitor from the Netherlands, with her Belgian-bred gelding here by Harley VDL. Safely over the Cabana coast to start, looking for our 8th clear. This also looking pretty solid. Ooh, has she made it there at the water? No, I don't think she has. I think we can see a flag being waved there. Not many riders picking up penalties at the open water. They had a couple of rails in the 2-star Grand Prix last week. Encourages the horse through the triple. I think perhaps a little bit of tiredness creeping in. So the final score will be 10, so 8 jumping and 2 for time for Charlotte van Bremen and Lexus van de Broekant. Here they are then, your jump-off qualifiers for today's 2-star Grand Prix. Arturo Paravaleo, Lareto, Fernando Parroquin-Delfin with Escudero SDN, Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo with Santa Rosa Dulis, Ignacio Barrero with Almiro Z, Felipe Amaral, Sonil Vantazip, Coddeswale, Theo 160, and Rodolfo Gomez, the last rider to complete a clear round with Mentors. So, Gregory Bordeaux has whittled more than 40 competitors down to just 7, and they will of course return for the jump off. It will be over a shorter track. It's all about speed, so don't go anywhere. We'll be bringing you that jump off round in just a few moments' time. and C from the triple combination. And finally fence 13 to finish. Time allowed 55 seconds. Arturo Parada will kick things off for us then. He's got to race. We don't need those additional flourishes from Loreto. That would waste a little bit of time. Round the turn, the rollback, and takes the Dragons on the angle at 5. Good at the 6A, keeps really to the left-hand side. This another new fence, and again angles over that. Oh, it's right-handed to 12B and C, just a teeny bit of momentum on the turn. And now a gallop to fence 13, that final upright to finish. And yes, he's got there, it's clear. Great ride from Arturo Parada. He was first in round 1 and gave us that first clear. He had to wait quite a long time for another clear, and remember, only 7 are returning. Well, we welcome. Excuse me, I haven't told you his time. It's clear and 37.86, so the time to beat 37.86 from Arturo Parada. Fernando Parroquin Delfin will try to better that. Escudero SDN. Got to go for it here. Arturo was flying, but I'm sure that each of these competitors will be giving it their very best shot. Good gallop to 4. And again, really solid. Kept it a little straighter. This is quick, over to that new Oxer. And now he continues his gallop. He's kept the pace a bit better on the turn. Very carefully through what is now a double, down to the last. Has he got there? Yes, he has, by more than a second. Fernando Parroquin Delfin will take the lead. 36.69 is the new time to beat.
In 36.69 seconds, beating Arturo Parada.
Well, Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo is your next rider. Santa Rosa du Lis, this lovely 9-year-old. So now the time to beat, 36.69. Flies the first. He's holding a little into the second fence, and yeah, unfortunately didn't have the right stride there. It's down. How much is he going to push for time now? Oof. Quite bold there. Good on the angle. He's working on the 4 though, remember. Clears the last, just with a single pole. 4 is the score, 40.15 is the time for Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo. He'll slot into 3rd place with 4 more to go. Still, Fernando Parroquin Delfin leads the way.
So Fernando Parroquin is leading the dance for 36.69.
So a Mexican 1, 2, 3 at this stage. One more Mexican competitor to go. One for Ecuador, one for Brazil, one for Ireland still to come. And that great time to beat that we have is 36.69. We're just taking a short pause while we await the arrival of Ignacio Barrero. We anticipate him very shortly. It's a beautiful day in Monterrey, the clearest day we've had all week. In fact, you can really see the mountains behind the arena. Absolutely stunning setting. And this has been the stage for some quite incredible competitions over the years. And here it comes then, Ignacio Barrero of Ecuador, with Almiro Z ready to go. All right then, Ignacio Barrero off and running. Clears that first vertical. Not necessarily galloping too much to the second. He needs to pick the pace up a bit here. Good ground cover. And here again, lands, turns. Goes fairly, well, actually not too wide, but perhaps, yeah, not quite got the balance ready for the double. So 4, and looks like the last as well. So 8 the score, 39.40. He's a little off the pace as well, so that will be enough for 4 at this point. Well, 3 riders remain in today's jump-off for this 2-star Grand Prix. Of course, this is the feature class of the day. These are the remaining riders: Felipe Amaral, Connor Swale, Rodolfo Gomez. Those 3 all still to come, and aiming to better that leading time, which is 36.69. It will take some doing, but these are very experienced competitors who are still to go. Felipe Amaral interview then with S. O'Neill van de Ziep. Felipe then on the roll back to those dragons. Some beautifully designed fences in this arena. Really artistic. No, too deep to 16. Doesn't have the chance then to go for the time. And I think he would have been a bit outside in any case. He has eased off the pace. 40.4 is on the clock for Felipe Amaral, but the pole down will put him into 4th place. So 2 double clears, 2 on 4 and 1 on 8 at this stage. Still 2 remain then. 2 riders could knock Fernando Paraquin Delfin off the top spot, but he's guaranteed a podium finish at least. And Connor Swale is ready to go here with Theo 160. Wonderful partnership, always a treat to see them in action together. Connor just sizing up some of these turns and perhaps these new fences. Just taking his time. So 36.69 is the time to beat Connor Swale for Ireland, going for this 2-star Grand Prix. Unfortunately, a little bit holding into 4 and it's gone. What a pity. Can catch out even the most experienced of competitors. Yeah, super sharp on that turn, but it's down. He's really galloping to the last. And 8 will be the final score for Connor, 38.97. Would have been, if he'd been clear, it would actually have only been enough for 3rd, but 2 down. He is going to finish in 5th place for now. Just 1 competitor still to come. So here he is then, your final competitor, Rodolfo Gomez and Mentor. He's off and running then. Rodolfo Gomez and Mentor, time to beat still 36.69. Will it be Mexico? In fact, it will be Mexico to take the win, but will it be Fernando Paraquin Delfin or Rodolfo Gomez? He's still keeping a good pace up here. I'm not sure he's quite as quick. Perhaps going more for the clear than the time. Manages the double, he's well over the time in fact. But he does come home clear, 44.43. And with only 2 other double clears, Rodolfo Gomez will seal 3rd place in this 2-star Grand Prix, of course presented by GNP Seguros. And a well-deserved win, an incredible time. Absolutely unbeatable. Fernando Paraquin Delfin then is your winner with Escudero SDN. Double clear and 36.69 to take the top spot. Arturo Parada Vallejo gave us a great performance as well with Loreto and finishes 2nd, his jump-off time being 37.86. Rodolfo Gomez will take 3rd with Mentor, 44.43 on the clock, and the 3rd of your double clears. Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo will take 4th, Felipe Amaral in 5th, Connor Swale in 6th, and Ignacio Barrero in 7th. Tony Storman sadly just outside the jump-off with a single time penalty. And then some fast falls there making up the top 10. Well, thank you so much for joining us once again. This has been the final day of action at the Major League Show Jumping Finals. Of course, this has been the two-star Grand Prix, and it's been a pleasure to take you through this afternoon's competition. I hope you've enjoyed this, as well as the Major League Circuit for Season 5. We look forward to bringing you more action in just a few months when we kick off Season 6. That will be in September. And for now, I hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world. And from the beautiful Monterrey in Mexico, we will say goodbye and see you next time.
Aguas, aguas, aguas. Y un saludo para mi mamá. Vámonos, Uriel. Ya se acaba. Thank you.
En el talud pegado a la Prix. Ahí va a encontrar, ya sabe aquí. ¿Va?
¿Ya fue el mago por la comida? ¿Qué te pones duro?
prize giving of the Grand Prix GNP Seguros. We start by congratulating our 5th place rider en quinto lugar, representando Brasil de Felipe Amaral y es O'Neill van Zijp in the 5th place. En cuarto lugar es Santa Rosa Duris y Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo, representando México, for Mexico in 4th place. In third and tercer lugar, felicidades Mentor y Rodolfo Gómez. In tercer and third for Mexico. En segundo lugar es Larreto y Arturo Parada Vallejo in second. And the champion, el ganador con escudero SDN, Fernando Parroquín para México. We invite our top 3 riders to please dismount and join us on the podium. Nos invitamos a Fernando, Arturo y Rodolfo on the podium de ese Gran Premio GNP Seguros. We go to our podium presentation in the GNP Seguros Grand Prix here at La Silla. In the 3rd position, ladies and gentlemen, riding Mentor. En tercer lugar, Rodolfo Gómez. Arturo Parada Vallejo en segundo lugar con Larreto. But the champion of the GNP Seguros Grand Prix, Escudero SRN, el ganador, Fernando Parroquín para México. Los trofeos, the trophies are being presented to the 3rd best place rider. Los trofeos para Rodolfo Gómez y Mentor Trophy being presented to our 3rd position. Rodolfo Gómez and Mentor in 3rd in this Grand Prix GNP Seguros. Then to the 2nd place, en segundo lugar, Larreto y Arturo Parada Vallejo, the trophy being presented to our 2nd best place rider in this GNP Grand Prix here at La Silla. And then to our champion, el trofeo para el ganador, the trophy for the winner, of course, all the way on top of our podium. It is Escudero STN. Los trofeos en este Gran Premio GNP Seguros. The trophy for the champion, el ganador, Fernando Parroquín. Aplauso. In celebration of this entire Mexican podium and the win of Fernando Parroquín, ladies and gentlemen, may we kindly ask you to please be upstanding for the national anthem of Mexico, el himno nacional en este Gran Premio, el himno nacional de México. Para México, Fernando Parroquín, Escudero SDN, el ganador.
Then it is time to serve champagne to our podium in this Grand Prix GNP Seguros, because we are going to conclude this beautiful Grand Prix with the champagne moment, of course, for our beautiful Mexican podium for Fernando Parroquin, Arturo Parada Vallejo and Rodolfo Gomez. Then we invite you all to cheer with our podium in this Grand Prix GNP Seguros, in this Grand Prix here at La Silla. Let's raise our glasses, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say salud, salud La Silla. Fernando Parroquin, el ganador de ese Gran Premio GNP Seguros con escudero SRN. Salud La Silla, salud concurso de salto 2026, concurso de salto 2026 here in Monterrey. We're about to drop the curtains over this 2026 edition. But of course, first of all, we're going to cheer and applaud one final time with all of our audience, with all of our VIP guests, our spectators, everyone here behind the scenes as well. It's a big thank you for being a part of our story and our history here in Monterrey. It's been an historic week at La Silla, and it is up to Fernando Parroquin to lead the lap of honor. Aplauso, aplauso para el ganador, Fernando Parroquin, de ese Gran Premio GNP Seguros para México. Aplauso, 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 Fernando Parroquin para México. Arturo Parada Vallejo, Rodolfo Gómez, Carlos Rodolfo Molina Gordillo y Felipe Amaral. Gran Premio GNP Seguros. Y uno más, one final time, as loud as you can. Aplauso, aplauso La Silla para el ganador, the champion of the Grand Prix, Fernando Parroquin, Escudero, México. What a beautiful culmination of Concurso de Salto La Silla 2026 here in Monterrey. The week during which we hosted for the first time the final of the Major League Show Jumping. We've seen the most amazing five-star sport. It's been an incredible week, the most important week here in Mexico since we've hosted the Olympic Games in Mexico City in 1968. A week for, without any doubt, a lot of history books for the Major League Show Jumping and for Concurso de Salto La Silla. Thank you to all of you. Gracias a todos por aquí en Monterrey al Concurso de Salto La Silla 2026. And thank you for being a part of our story. And we will meet again in November for the winter season of Concurso de Salto La Silla. In November, we will be back with even more and better five-star sport. Thank you. See you next time. Thank you to Monterrey. Thank you. Gracias, La Silla.
We have a new leader right now.